Welcome to America Advances.
Cold War 2.0. Innovations like artificial intelligence and semiconductor technology are expected to be pivotal battlegrounds in this new Cold War era. As the war in Ukraine enters its third year and tensions escalate across the Middle East and beyond, global security concerns are intensifying. The term Cold War 2.0 is becoming more prevalent in foreign policy discussions, reflecting the growing geopolitical frictions. In his latest book, Cold War 2.0, Canadian attorney and writer George Tkach explores the dynamics of this new era. He argues that the Second Cold War, triggered by Russia's military interventions in Ukraine and its 2014 annexation of Crimea, is evolving into a heightened state of hostility. China emerges as a crucial hegemonic force in this context. The key question is whether President Xi Jinping will escalate military tensions against Taiwan and in the South China Sea, shaping the future global order. Tkach recently spoke with the diplomat to discuss some of the main points in his book. Why is 2014 the starting point of Cold War 2.0? In 2014, Vladimir Putin occupied Ukraine's eastern territories and annexed Crimea, blatantly disregarding international norms. Around the same time, China intensified its assertive actions in the South China Sea and towards Taiwan. This contrasts sharply with China's earlier behavior in the 1970s and 80s, when it adhered more closely to the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. Since 2014, these two major autocratic countries have shown an increasing reluctance to follow the rule-based order. How is the current era distinct from the first Cold War? In the original Cold War, the main adversaries were the United States and the Soviet Union. In the emerging Cold War 2.0, the United States is in a rivalry with China. Unlike the Soviet Union, China has significant economic power and global integration. Another notable difference is the role of technology. Innovations such as artificial intelligence and semiconductor technology are expected to be crucial battlegrounds in this new Cold War era. After witnessing the prolonged war in Ukraine, will China's Xi Jinping take direct military action against Taiwan? Like Ukraine's challenge to Russia, Taiwan's flourishing liberal democracy is a persistent thorn in Xi Jinping's side. I anticipate that China may be poised to launch a full-scale invasion of the island by 2034. During my recent visit to Taiwan, conversations with locals revealed a sobering reality. In the event of a Chinese assault, the island could only hold out for 2 to 3 weeks without substantial support from the U.S. and its Asia-Pacific allies. There is a fundamental difference between the situations in Taiwan and Ukraine. In war simulations I've examined, within weeks, the United States could potentially lose 2 battleships and 20 support vessels, with a tragic toll of 25,000 fallen soldiers. In Ukraine, no body bags are returning home to the United States. These grim projections underscore the high stakes and formidable challenges involved in any confrontation over Taiwan's sovereignty. They highlight the critical importance of strengthening Taiwan's defenses and alliances to deter potential Chinese military aggression. In your book, you emphasize technology as a key component of the new Cold War. How so? Consider Ukraine's offensive in the Black Sea against Russian fleets. Ukrainian drones, at a fraction of the cost of traditional weaponry, effectively neutralized Russian naval power, ensuring the uninterrupted flow of their grain exports. Advancements in military technology are proving invaluable in defensive operations, as seen in the deployment of naval vessels equipped with Aegis air defense systems. These vessels, equipped with automated AI systems, can swiftly identify and intercept incoming missile threats with remarkable precision. The ongoing development of surface and subsurface drones further underscores the rapid evolution of military capabilities. The U.S. Air Force is increasingly turning to AI technology for enhanced performance. In a recent simulation, AI systems outperformed conventional jet fighters in a hypothetical dogfight scenario. This suggests that the era of traditional fighter pilots may be drawing to a close. Expensive and complex aircraft like the F-35 are likely to be supplanted by more efficient and technologically advanced alternatives. The Pentagon's newly devised replicator program, aimed at swiftly assembling and deploying inexpensive drones within 18 to 24 months, aptly encapsulates our present circumstances. However, technological progress also presents risks. These innovative weapons systems could potentially fall into the hands of rogue states and non-state actors, posing a significant threat to global security. Are China and Russia on par with new technologies? Russia and China still lag behind in military technology. U.S. President Joe Biden's stringent sanctions and export controls against China are widening this gap further. Xi Jinping may believe that seizing control of Taiwan's TSMC semiconductor chip fabrication plants would give China dominance in the semiconductor trade. But the reality is far more complex. Chip manufacturing is a highly sophisticated process that relies on contributions from multiple countries. While the fabs are in Taiwan, essential components like the ASML ultra-advanced chip-making machine come from the Netherlands, lasers from Germany, wafers and industrial gases from Japan, memory chips from South Korea, and chip design from the US. This interconnectedness means the national interests of democracies in North America, Europe, and the Asia-Pacific are closely linked. Essentially, when acting together to prevail in Cold War 2.0, the key phrase for the world's democracies is, "None of us is as strong as all of us." The other great strength of democracies is that we collectively have many stronger companies involved in today's leading technologies: artificial intelligence, advanced semiconductor chips, quantum computing, and biotechnology. I emphasize in my book how important these four technologies will be to the outcome of Cold War 2.0. Democracies allow for competitive displacement, where a new technology or innovation can overtake an earlier one. This happens rarely in an autocracy due to the iron grip of the autocrat on the economic system. Moreover, China typically supports only one major tech player in each vertical domain, while democracies boast numerous contenders. These key technologies are undergoing massive innovation almost daily. NVIDIA, for example, recently unveiled groundbreaking technologies that will revolutionize how AI systems are trained and used. This will be critical because, under the export ban of these systems from the democracies, these new developments will not be equally shared with China, ultimately hurting China's ability to keep up with the democracies in civilian and military capabilities. Ironically, these restrictions, by widening the technological gap between China and the democracies, may push Xi towards more drastic measures concerning Taiwan. What other steps must the democracies take to prevail in Cold War 2.0? We must improve the administration and enforcement of sanctions that stop the flow of technologies from democracies to autocracies. Even today, semiconductor chips made in democracies are finding their way into drones fired by Russia against Ukraine. Democracies must stop providing autocrats with the technologies they can use against us. Additionally, democracies will need to increase defense spending in the coming years and likely decades. This means less can be spent on education, healthcare, and pensions for the elderly, but this is the cost of being dragged into Cold War 2.0 by the autocrats. Democracies simply have to pay more for the insurance policy called national security. It still costs much less than the alternative, as we are learning in Ukraine. Finally, we must strengthen our own institutions of democracy, including the operation of elections, the support for human rights, and the practice of the rule of law. Technologies like social media are threatening to undermine these institutions. We must ensure that citizens in democracies are well equipped to defend against cognitive warfare measures launched by autocracies. In this regard, democracies like the US, Canada, and most European countries have much to learn from our Asian partners in Japan and Taiwan, who have done better defending against social media disinformation from China and Russia. The message for all democracies must be, none of us is as strong as all of us.
That's it for today's video, soldiers. I remind you that you can subscribe to stay updated with the latest military news.